Buongiorno a tutti. Today I'm going to be talking about another in the QuickTools suite of add-ons for Blender, QuickTexture. It's a very slick tool that really speeds up adding and editing textures. Andiamo! QuickTexture adopts the same philosophy as the other QuickTools. Take a laborious Blender process and make it speedy and interactive in the viewport. So I'm going to start by showing the standard way for applying a PBR or real world texture in Blender. Now I found a free texture online and I want to apply it to this cactus thing here sitting in the plant pot. So I select the cactus, go to the Material tab, click New. Now make sure Node Wrangler is enabled in my preferences. Now down here in the shader editor, if I have the principled shader selected, I can now, because I've got Node Wrangler enabled, I can use the shortcut Control-Shift-T and set up a PBR material, and with a mapping node and everything I need. It will pop open this file viewer, navigate to the texture, and I'll go for color, height, normal OpenGL that is for Blender, and roughness. Okay, so that's already kind of working as it happens. Now let's try it again with the pot. I'll select it, again add a new material, select the principled shader node, then Control-Shift-T, base color, bump, displacement, normal, and roughness. Okay, that's not looking great. The reason being that this type of texture, it needs a UV map. As it happens, the cactus had one, but this pot, if we look in the Data Properties tab, you see under UV maps, there's nothing there, that this texture doesn't really know how to be applied. Now, in this case, it would be pretty simple to create my own UV map. But what if I don't have time? Or what if it's a really complicated object? Or what if I just can't be bothered? Well, enter QuickTexture. All right, I'll duplicate this pot, drag it off to the side. On the original, I'll scrap this material, and now with the pot still selected, use the shortcut Control-T. Control-T launches QuickTexture, and that immediately puts me into this file browser. I'm after this terracotta marble here, so again I'll select the texture maps I want, confirm that, and look at the difference. QuickTexture created a UV map for me and it set up the texture correctly. It was so fast. You'll also notice that the familiar QuickTools UI has popped up with the white and turquoise text around the place. QuickTexture tool is now running. We're in that mode. So it's got its own set of shortcuts. And you can see these shortcut tips. For example, if I tap H and move my mouse, I can change the hue. And the same goes for value or brightness, contrast. You get the idea. Saturation as well. It's so convenient not to have to fiddle around with nodes down in the shader editor. In fact, I don't really need the shader editor at all if I'm working with QuickTexture, so I can just shut this down here. Now to close QuickTexture, I can use the same shortcut, Control-T, or I can just click away from the object in space. And now if I decide I want to tweak that QuickTexture, well, I just select it again, Control-T, and now I'm back in QuickTexture mode and I can start editing away. Now, what if I have an object that already has a conventional PBR texture on it, like this cactus, and I want the convenience of the QuickTexture controls? Well, no problem. This cactus had a vanilla PBR material setup. Right, select that, and then again, Control-T to launch QuickTexture, and now that material has become a QuickTexture, and all the same shortcuts will now apply. I can change the hue, the saturation, and so on. So that's the basic functionality, but there are tons more advantages to using QuickTexture. Let's hide the cactus collection and look at this wall example. Switch to shader layout. Now, this thing has a UV map already, so I'll bung a texture on there the old-fashioned way. Adjust the texture scale a little down in the transform node. If you need to, you can rotate the lighting in your viewport shading options so you can see what you're doing a bit better. Right, kind of okay, though I think the UVs need a bit of work, especially on the sides. I don't think that makes sense. Anyway, I've decided I want to add some more detail. I want a kind of wider foot along the bottom. In edit mode, I'm going to cut a new loop, and then I'm going to extrude that face out. And of course, zoomed in, we can see the texture has broken down because this is new geometry. It wasn't in the original UV map that this texture is using. So let's hide this one and show a duplicate. Again, Control T to put a quick texture on there, navigate to the same one. And now let's take a look at the shortcuts in the N panel. Down under Edit, you can see the standard Blender shortcuts, G to move, S to scale, R to rotate. So let's try S to scale. You see, here again, I can just interactively transform this texture right in the viewport without faffing around with nodes. But even better, look what happens when I make an edit to the geometry, like on that last wall where I pulled the foot out at the bottom. Make a loop cut. Extrude the face, and look at that, the UVs are adjusting on the fly, so it just works. So cool. Now I could just make a bunch of random cuts with the knife tool, say. Let's get slashing about. Then I can randomly just grab some of these new faces, just extrude them out willy-nilly. It just works. I love it. QuickTexture is absolutely packed with features, and I haven't got time to cover them all here, but in the next video I want to show you one of the biggies, and that's layering and masking textures on top of each other. See you there. 3D from Zero makes tutorials and quick tips about 3D software. If you're into 3D or you'd like to be, check out my free course on 3dfromzero.com, and there are some paid courses there too. Thanks for watching.